farmers, I think we're used to bootstrapping it. Get tough, get through it, you can make it. But not everybody can do that.
Pick up the carpet and sweep it under.
Absolutely. And so maybe by the time someone is asking for help, it's pretty serious. Because for them to get to the point where they say, I need help, you maybe need to really be listening. I'm Gretl Schlatter. We are in Northwest Ohio, Paulding County. I farm here at Flat Rock Dairy. We milk around 350 cows. We raise feed for our cows, and then we also do some crop farming besides.
My name's SARE Noggle. I'm the County Extension Educator for Agriculture and Natural Resources in Paulding County, Ohio. So one of my areas of focus is working in farm management, specifically farm stress. I was a high school agriculture teacher, and I saw those stresses in my students. And as I came into Extension 11 years ago, I felt like we needed to address that. Those students were becoming new and beginning farmers. They were the ones that were taking over family farms, and so we knew we needed to address some of those issues, but it's a hard topic to talk about. But I knew growing up in this community that if we didn't address some of those things, our farm families wouldn't be strong, and I felt that was super important.
So stress on the farm, first and foremost, sometimes you feel isolated and alone. Maybe your business, your farm is going through a stressor that your neighbors are not. So when you're looking for resources and you're drawing a blank, you're like, who understands this, or where do I go, or who do I need to talk to? Extension is a great place to turn. Extension connects you to your local community, mentor groups, peer groups, other people who have either been there or going through the stressors at the same time. And so calling Sarah might say, well, I don't know this, but I know someone who does.
I think one of the other things that, as we talked with farmers, when a farmer finally reaches out where they need some help, it's probably a little more serious. And so knowing that I needed to know what those resources are, and maybe I had to see for myself, we were dealing with stress on our family farm, and how do we address those things? And so talking through that, one of the things I found with, as we talked to some of the different counselors, is they had never stepped foot on a family farm. And how could they make that connection? Or when their answer was, well, why don't you just quit farming? And I laugh because, when you look at a dairy farm, well, I'm just going to quit tomorrow and I don't know where the cows are going to go or where their feed is going to come from. But that was the reality of it. And so one of the things we created through Ohio State Extension was a program called Farm Stress Certified. And so we worked on a grant through that. And that was hard, but it's evolving. But the thing is, now we're making that connection, and we go out and interview farmers, and then those counselors can make those connections, and it's that network. And I think tucking that into different programs that, 15 minutes in a pesticide recertification, while that doesn't really deal with that, or at an agronomy night, or making that mention of, the 988 helpline, and being able to say, here are the resources for you, but doing it in a non-threatening way. I've had more people reach back out to say, thanks for sharing those things. And I think just the awareness, if you don't know that it's there, I think that's just helping people to understand those things.
Mental health has been a real stigma in the past. I think there's been a lot of shame attached to that you can't just gut it out and get there.
I don't want someone to see my vehicle there at a counselor or a therapist locally, because maybe that person that drives by might be that farmer that's saying, oh, they're having problems, I'm going to cash rent that land out from underneath them. And that stress that comes around that social side. But I think I think it's the younger generation, they have more of an awareness and are willing to talk with that, and the older generation. And I think that's opening the door. And I think that's one of the things is to say it's okay to reach out. We have to talk about this, and we have to address some of these issues, whether it's a generational or a beginning farmer. And again, talking about stress on the farm. And I think, going through and looking at some of those goals and some of those planning and doing your homework, to relieve some of that stress is also the financial side of farming. Where are those balance sheets? Let's teach about those simple things that aren't so simple when you have tunnel vision, when you're under that stress.
Yeah, absolutely. Identifying strengths and weaknesses and where you can grow and do better so that next year, because these stresses will come again.
Absolutely.
And so how are we going to handle this better next time? We feel like what we do matters. It brings such meaning to our life that, yeah, milk, nature's most nearly perfect food. We have a business and we can produce this milk, and now we can bring milk into schools. And so it brings a lot of value to our businesses and gives us a lot of satisfaction. I would say both Sarah and I are saying that we feel like what we do matters. And I think that drives us through. So when the times get tough, we're like, well, hey, this matters. You don't give up as easy.